What's up, you guys? Welcome to another video. My name is Zanani Sizani, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things Christian, health and wellness lifestyle. So, as you guys know, I'm a blogger, I'm a content creator here on YouTube and on TikTok and Pinterest, all the social medias, honey. So you can find me, just go into the description if you're just looking for some blog posts or any inspirational videos that you can find. I mostly just post here on YouTube fun videos, cleaning, dancing, anything that, you know, brings a good vibe, that you don't always have to be so draggy. So today we're going to talk about health, my wellness journey, my 2024 wellness journey, and how it went, how it started, and why, and the lessons I've learned. So and how I want to move forward as we go into 2025. And so yeah, so let's get going. So I started, okay, so in the beginning of the year, we all have goals, right? So all have goals, because the thing is, last year, which was 2023, I failed. I failed every single goal that I set for myself. And it put me in a position where I was like, you know what? I need to get it together. I cannot just write down goals, invest towards them, and then I have nothing to show for them. So that was basically my mentality in 2024. Beginning 2024, that I wanted to see things coming to fruition. And I even wrote it in my prayer book, what I wanted to get out of 2024. And I was very specific. I think, I don't think I know. I was very specific to God. I wrote most of my things everywhere. And but this specific one, my wellness journey was mostly around, losing weight and eating properly. And that was also, that stemmed out of the, what is this? The realization that I was an emotional eater. I coped with emotions via eating, or so I realized that via the Holy Spirit, that, because that's when I started learning about the concept of gluttony. I didn't know it was a thing until I realized, okay, so, eating just for fun is, being a glutton, and not something that glorifies God. So because I'm on a constant journey to live a life that glorifies God, live a life that's pleasing to the Lord, and learning that God also cares about, God cares about just your everyday living. And that's my whole MO with the blog, that you incorporate God in your everyday health and wellness, everyday, getting dressed, going on trips, everything. So that's what the blog is about. So also, that was also part of it, that if I'm going to write about, health and wellness, then I should also be like a picture of health and wellness, not necessarily the stereotypical picture, but not necessarily the stereotypical picture of health and wellness, but just show that I'm also trying. I'm also in the game of getting better, and not just writing to you guys about being, health and wellness connoisseurs. But me, I'm just writing, but I don't look like I'm trying. So that was my goal for this year, that I wanted to lose weight, because my back was like, my body was just sending signals like, ma'am, the weight that you're on is not it. And December, I went through December 2023, I went through some hardships that were very emotional. So I gained a lot of weight by the end of January. So, and I don't even think it, we all have like max weight where we like, now this is too much. There's a tolerable weight, and then there's one that you're like, nah. We all have an overweight scale, even if, you don't have to be stick thin to say like, okay, you're healthy. You could be skinny, you could be all sizes and not be healthy. It's not really about the size, it's really about, what your body's telling you, what your body needs. So you need to know what's going on with your body. All right, so that was the goal. So beginning of the year, I went to the doctor. They took my weight. I weighed about 97, which was a whopping. It was a whopping 97, because also in 2023 I fasted for 40 days. Okay, so in 2023 there was a period where I fasted for a while, and that dropped my weight, and it stayed consistent. So I was weighing around 89. So by beginning of 2024, I was at 97.8, I think. And I am 167 centimeters tall. So for me, it was way past my BMI. And yeah, I could feel it. Guys, it was not even about how much I weigh, my BMI, all of that, but I could feel it. I was not feeling great. All right. So that kick-started my thing, because I went to the doctor, as I always do. I go to the doctor at least twice a year to just go for a thorough checkup. I go to the dentist. I go to all the doctors at least on routine, just to check things are going and what I can do to improve. So I asked the doctor to just give me advice. She didn't give me much of advice, she just said exercise, eat right. The best thing she said to me was park far so that you get your daily steps in. But then I told her I had started jumping rope. So she said, perfect, So in the beginning of the year, from January to May, I was exercising, trying to be consistent with exercise. So I had this routine that I formed for myself, and I'll do a video on it, just for fun and information. And if you guys want to do the routine yourselves, I'll do a post on it, how, not a blog post, a vlog post. So I'll have like an exercise video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see on the video. But also I'll do a video of that exercise routine, because it really helped me, and I could see that I dropped some weight. But at the time, from January to April, I was more focused on the exercise part of it, and I was dropping weight, gradually, but it was not like, you could see, but I was doing something. But then in May, I suddenly, and it's not sudden, and it's probably not random, because I had put it in a book, I had talked to God about it, it was a prayer. So I just had this urge now to go raw vegan, or to try, because my diet had not changed from January to April. So my diet didn't change, but I was exercising. So by May, I was thinking, okay, I need to change my diet, because the thing I would say that prompted me is because I was eating constantly, and it was kind of annoying, because I was like, I know I'm not hungry. I know I'm not, why do I always feel the need to eat, and it's taking a lot of time. It's, and I'm always like overthinking it, and like it's just a mess in my mind when it comes to food, because then I think, oh, this is bad, this is good, this is, so I think because of that, God put me in a position to decide, okay, I gotta do something. So Pinterest, scrolling, I don't know how I came to conclude that, hey, let me do a plant-based diet. Or I think I was searching different diets, and I was really captivated by the Mediterranean diet, because it's more of a lifestyle. It's more of a, it doesn't restrict you from anything. But I think at that time I needed some sort of restriction. And disclaimer, you guys, don't because I did it, but I did it under the protection and the grace of God, and that's why God is important in our health and wellness, because sometimes you want to do things that the world is doing, but not understanding how it's going to affect us, because it's you would think it's just nutrition, but it's not just nutrition. Your mental is going to get affected, and we're going to talk about it. Your physical, your relationship with food. So you have to do it under the grace, under the protection of God, so that God can show you, God can lead you, God can protect you from certain things. And we're going to talk about that. So yes, I like the Mediterranean diet because it doesn't restrict anything. There's no restriction. You just need to be disciplined, and you need to know that, okay, I cannot have red meat too much, or I cannot have chicken more than this amount. It just helps in that way, just to regulate things, but still enjoying all the food groups. And so yeah, that was basically it. So I was like, yeah, it's great, but I needed something deeper. I needed like a clean slate. And for me, in my mind, I was like, clean slate, okay, raw vegan. Oh, but now I don't like to say raw vegan because of some connotations with veganism, and the spiritual side of veganism is a bit shaky. So and we're going to get into that also. Let me not get off track. So I was like, I need a clean slate. So I was like, okay, let me try doing a raw food diet for like 30 days, okay? And then so I did 29 days of it. I failed by the end of May. So I didn't finish the challenge because I was like, I need meat. So I ate meat by the end of May, but it started in May. So then June comes along, that urge is still there. Okay. So I said, okay, let me do a plant-based one where I can cook the food. No, in May it wasn't a raw vegan because I was still cooking, but I wasn't, and I was still eating grains. So it wasn't raw food, it was more plant-based. It was more vegan. Let's say in May it was vegan. In June it was plant-based, but then in June the problem was I was eating too much potato chips because it was just easier, and it was easier to rely on. So I was eating too much grain, too much potato chips, even if it was oven baked, but I was eating it way too much, and I needed that. I don't know what it was that my spirit needed. And okay, so by the way, you guys, today was the first day after 90 days. So that's why we're talking about this. I wanted it to be fresh. Okay, back to the video. So so let's say May I went vegan, so it was minimally cooked, minimally, but then for me it was too boring. So I was like, okay, let's go plant-based. But then on the plant-based, I was eating too much potato chips. and too much, what was it? Rice. So I was like, no, still okay. So July, I kind of what happened. Okay, July was like on, it was like a mixture of vegetarian, plant-based, but it was still not enough. So I kept on failing in those months. So come August, end of July actually, I failed again. And so I was like, you know what? I need to get serious with it. And then God, you know when the sentence starts with and then God, all right? So the Holy Spirit was convicting me. That's why I couldn't just like stop and say, forget it, you know. So I felt bad because I'm like, I really want to do this, but I cannot get it right. And it's one of my prayers for the year, but it's not working. And at this time, I'm not even exercising because I'm so focused on this getting this nutrition right, and it's destroying my mental at that point. Not destroying, but I was just a mess mentally when it came to food, you know. And I'm just trying to figure a way out. And one day I went into my phone notes and I see that I wrote there like, God, I literally wrote, I'll do a screenshot. I literally wrote for God to put me in a 90-day diet where I was just eating fruits and veggies. And because I also realized, you know, going back a bit, I always also realized that I wasn't eating enough fruits and veggies uncooked, you know. Okay, I don't cook fruits, but I wasn't eating enough vegetables and I wasn't eating enough. I have no problems with vegetables, but I wasn't eating enough uncooked food. Everything was cooked, everything was, you know, jazzed up. You know how we black people be doing, you know. We need the flavor, honey. uh, no offense to other races, but I'm just speaking on what I know. Okay. um so yeah, no offense, guys. I love everybody. So yeah. So I was like, maybe I should go completely raw. Like, this is now end of July, beginning August. So I was like, go completely raw. And on top of that, everything, like everything, what this was about is everything I'm relying on to be emotionally stable, get it out of the picture for 90 days. And if you guys know that a habit is formed in 66 days, if you want to form a habit, you gotta do it consistently for 66 days, all right? So I was like, okay, but 90 days for me. But I think it was God, really. And yeah, you know, God will also speak, God will also prompt. So any ideas that you get, always bring it to the Lord, because He's going to now unpack it for you. Sometimes we think it's us, we're not that smart, but we are smart by the name of Jesus, you know. So around the 12th of August, yeah, around the 12th of August, I'm like, okay, I'm stopping all nonsense, and I am starting this thing again. Oh, because I'm like, this is the wrong page. Sorry guys, I'm trying to find, you know. Okay, so okay, so ooh, 12th August. Okay, focus, man. All right, there. All right, so by 12th August, I'm like, okay, stop all the nonsense. We are going to do this and we're going to commit. And what I realized in the previous, and it helped me to have failed, because in the previous month, I was like, every time by the end of the month, I'm failing this thing. I cannot seem to finish it, you know? And then I realized, okay, the enemy comes at the end of the month and he comes to try me. So I told myself every end of the month, you make sure that, okay, now, if you are not focused, you are focused end of the month to make sure that you, and lo and behold, every month and the cravings will come. The ing, I was tested, honey. So that's okay. We covered the why, what I prayed for, and then the failures, you know. So the enemy was involved in my failures, but he also, God helped me through those failures to see that, okay, end of the month, this thing comes along, so you gotta push end of the month, because in the middle of the month it's fine, Mary, end of the month, now I really want to quit, you know, and or I would get like impatient. So yeah, so that was it. That was the failures. And in August I just decided I gotta obey. I gotta obey God. I gotta, like, it's not, that's why I wrote fasting instead of raw vegan diet. And I watched a video by, I will link it down below, by Pastor Vlad Shuk. Yeah. He did a video on veganism and, you know, demonic influences of the vegan, you know, culture. And that's the reason why I stopped. But then I thank God that I stopped and then changed. This is now before the 12th of August. I stopped because I was like, okay, maybe that's why I've been failing, because I'm now dabbling in the demonic stuff. But once I got that that revelation, God then was able to talk to me like, okay, now you know, when you like when you are obsessed with it, like, you know, some people who are vegan, not everyone, the culture is a bit obsessive, like there's some toxicity in the health and wellness space. That's why I'm saying it's so important to include Jesus in your eating, your drinking. That's Romans 12. I'll put it here for you guys, what it says about that. In your eating, in your drinking, do it unto the Lord. That's for protection, really, because when you look at things in the world, how it's done, it can really break down your mental health. It can really break down every other part of you that needs to be stable, because now you're competing with all the skinny girls, all the that girl challenge people, you doing 75 days. All those things are good, but you know, you need to have some sort of guidance in how you do it, because if you do it just to look like Sabrina next door, you're going to go crazy, because you just want what that person looks like. But then when you get there, you're not even happy, because it's still not enough. It's still not enough, because tomorrow the trend is you gotta be skinny with a big butt. Now you're gonna have to. So it also takes accepting yourself and doing it for yourself. That's why wellness in the Christianity space, for me, it's important to say, love yourself, know yourself, and better yourself for yourself. Don't focus on what Tyler's doing, what Sabrina's doing, what Dimpo is doing. No, leave Dimpo, leave Lerato, leave those people. What is it that you need? What's going to work for your lifestyle, your life? Because we don't know what other people are doing. Guys, people are going to Turkey, you know. When are you think they're in the gym? Some people are just going to Turkey. Really, that's just the truth. And what if you don't have money for Turkey and you're just busting yourself in the gym and this booty is not coming? And why do you want the booty? And it's like a lot of things. And I realized how toxic it was. by the end of July. So I said, okay, if I say it's a fast, then I know that I can even call it like the environment around it, it's safe and it's done under the protection of God, and I can move freely in this, and I can move learning along the way, and you know, trust God that God will bring me through. So I think that I was able to complete, I don't think I know, I was able to complete this 90 days by the grace of God, not for anything else. And let me say, okay, I was able to finish it by the grace of God. And I will say that I learned a lot, and I realize now that God, you know, at some point it felt like a punishment, you know, because I'm like, I cannot get over this thing. I need this disease of me, you know, the disease of emotionally eating and all of that, and constantly thinking about food. So it felt like a punishment, but then God was healing a lot of things in me. And one thing that God healed was that every, like, food, there's no bad food. It, like, you know, there's, you know, like when you on diets, it's like these foods are bad, these foods are good. It's not that the foods are bad or good. It's sometimes the preparation, how you know, the farming, like the preparation, whether it's the farming, whether it's the processing, whether it's the, you know, the steps before it gets to the shelf, or even before it gets to your plate, even how you cook things, how you cook certain things. God had to show me that it's not necessarily that these foods are bad, because you know, pizza can be good. It's just how it's prepared. You know, the preparation of it is what's important. So that healed in me to not look at food as, because that's what got me into binging cycles, that I would feel guilty for eating chips, you know, like potato chips. I would feel bad for eating potato chips. Then I would get into a cycle of, okay, I'm not going to eat anymore. And then I would get into a cycle of exercising, doing exercises that I didn't like, hoping to, you know, lose weight, the weight that I gained from, you know, the weight that I gained from, like, even if it was a small fry, but the weight that I gained, that, or that I perceived that I gained in eating those fries. So I would, you know, it was just a terrible cycle to be in. So God healed that in me. God healed God healed a lot. God healed a lot. And God healed the part of me that was not accepting of my body. And God healed my, I want to cry a little bit because it was a lot. So God healed also the parts that, the insecurities, you know, like accepting your body, loving your body where you are right now. Like, instead of striving on becoming that girl all the time, be who you are in the moment, as you are working towards becoming a better part of you, but not always in the strive, in the hamster wheel of becoming. Also accept who you are in this moment, in this current climate, as you are trying to change and becoming the next, who like an extension of who you are right now. I don't think that we should try to be other people or like other people. We can take inspiration from other people, but I think we should always just become an extension of ourselves. Paul in 2 Corinthians talk, or Hebrews, not Corinthians, you'll find it here. He talks about, you know, like spiritual growth. It's like when you're a baby, you need milk, and then as you grow, you now start eating meat, you know. So you can't give a baby meat until they are at a certain level of maturity. So I think that that principle also applies to as you are growing, as you are evolving, that you should be yourself and evolve into the extension of who you want to see, So, yeah, I forgot now where I was going. So, yeah, no, yeah, oh, I was talking about how it was emotional for me to accept myself, because as I was losing weight and in between I was fasting, I would fast, and then God would call me into fast, and so I would lose weight by fasting also. uh, and so that's why, guys, don't do this one is not something like, "Ah, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm starting project 50." No, 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 no. This one is something you need to pray about, something you need to take to God. It's something God needs to lead you and guide you. You need the Holy Spirit for this one. So I was losing weight, but the issue was I didn't feel like I still saw myself as, a large girl. So people are like, oh my, like even my size, my right now, all my clothes are big. I have, yeah, all my clothes are big, but it hasn't registered in my mind that I'm now at a different size. I think I dropped 3 sizes. Not three, 2 sizes. Yeah, 2 sizes. I think I dropped 2 sizes. I am at my ideal size, clothing wise. But when I got there, well, it didn't do anything for me. I still felt fat. I still felt like I could see it, but I still saw myself as the girl that started in January, because also of the picture that I had of I feel so grateful for doing this with God, because I would have destroyed myself had I did this outside of the grace of God. Because I'm realizing how intense it was mentally, how intense it was physically. And it was, yeah, I'm realizing now. Like I said, today is my first day out of this whole experience. And I just wanted to give you guys a raw, unfiltered experience. So now, yeah, so, okay, way forward. Yeah, no, guys, like it was rough, but I finished it, and I faced a lot of temptation. I remember my aunt bought me sushi. I like sushi. And my aunt was like, "It's raw." I'm like, "Girl, I'm not eating rice. I'm not eating fish. I'm not eating anything. Just get me avocado." And probably why my skin is looking like this. Avocado. Yeah, I was avocadoing up. I was peanut. I relied on peanuts and avocado, okay? And it was getting to me. I was like, I need variety. I need to be able to cook something. And it was also brutal because I was eating salads in winter when people are eating soup. And my whole family, like, Shem, they were not gonna do this thing with me, and I don't blame them. The grace was on me to do it. So I'm just laughing at the sushi thing, and so yeah. So it's very, 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 very important that you involve God in whatever wellness, in whatever everything that you do. Just involve God, because if you do things the worldly way, they make it look very nice. They make it look pretty, but it's not, because you deal with your self-image, you deal with your kore, a lot is on the line, and your mental health can decline drastically if you don't have an anchor in Jesus, because Jesus was able to like wash my mind basically, and it was also a renewing of my mind. So I was no longer relying on the food to make me because at first I was like, oh, my mind is more clearer, all those things, and it was going into the cultic aspects of it. And when God brought me into this is how we do it, how we should do it, God kept me in that raw food space, but in His way. I had to keep reading my Bible. I had to keep praying. I had to, God made it His mission to remind me how much I was loved, how much He cared, to the point like God was so in it. Like now, looking back, I'm like, God was with me in everything, because a family member of mine who's a pastor, he started sending me messages almost every time I was feeling down. He would send me a message that spoke to what I was going through. And I don't think he knew what I was going through, but I believe that God, spoke to him about me, because there was just a time where, I was like, oh, my dreams are getting more vivid, so I was feeding into certain things that's why I failed. But once I focused on God and what God was doing and obeying God, then I was, God was the one lifting me. Like whenever I was sad, whenever I was craving something, whenever I was feeling like I'm doing things wrong or whatever, God was the one picking me up. God was anchoring me. God is the one who allowed me to finish this. So, way forward, what I realized is that, there's no good or bad food because God made it. Everything, food, God made the food. God made God created things. In Leviticus, we have a whole list of foods that are clean and unclean, but we know that in the New Testament we have grace. But I think that at the end of the day, it's between you and God. Sometimes God can call you into the ministry to eat more plant-based or to be vegetarian or whatever, but it needs to be from God. And the way forward for me is that I think I will, I don't think I know, I will be more taking on more of the Mediterranean lifestyle, prioritizing nutrition, prioritizing exercise, prioritizing drinking water, and prioritizing sleep. Those ones I want to now get into a routine where I have a set routine for them and I make sure that I do it every day. I exercise every day. I eat right every day. Like I make better choices, not restrictive choices. I never want to restrict myself anymore. I saw that it is so bad for me mentally. But what I realized is that I want to be in this constantly taking care of my body, constantly drinking water, making sure I eat well, and making sure that I sleep enough, because all those things, they play into each other. And and for me it's important because it's my work, but it's also, I just feel like I need to be a good steward of what God has given me, which is my body. It's a gift from God. It's a gift, and the Holy Spirit lives within me. It's His temple. It's like the tabernacle in the Old Testament. So I really want to treat my body like a tabernacle. Really want to treat my body with that respect. It doesn't mean that you can't have a burger every once in a while, but don't let food become your God, and don't let food become your master, in the sense of you cannot move, you cannot do anything because food, and it's going to take a while to completely heal from that. And then just beyond the nutrition, the I'm spelling it because there's a surprise coming. Um, I think those are just the basics that we need. We don't really need a lot, but also taking care of your mental health, feeding your spirit. Your spirit is so important for you to always feed the right things. So that means reading books that are growing you, in, growing you, not like all those, these books, 50 somethings of some colors, those, not those kind of books, but books that actually feed your spirit, and to be eternity minded, knowing that you are a spirit first. And this is a revelation I got this morning, that I am a spirit first. That's why we seek God first, because we always need to prioritize our spirit man first before we prioritize our physical. But our physical is just as important, but let's gratify the desires of the spirit before we gratify the desires of the flesh. But when I say, okay, not the desires, the need, not the desires, the needs of the flesh, the needs of the physical. Let's say the needs of the physical, because I think in the Christian world, when somebody says flesh and gratifying, we start thinking, oh, you want to be sinful. No, I'm saying taking care of your physical body. God cares about your appearance. God cares about how your health, God cares about you from the inside out, outside in. As much as God cares about your heart, God cares about your physical health and well-being. And you guys can even go watch The Seven Spheres of Wealth by Dr. Miles Monroe, that we need to be wealthy in certain areas, and we need to be wealthy in physical health, because without this body, you're done for. You cannot do anything. Like, you'll be a spirit. But then, even as a spirit, you need to continue. It's either you're going to be in class or you're going to be the teacher in the spiritual realm. But we need to also understand that the spiritual realm, it's very, 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 very real. And when Jesus said walk in the spirit, he meant it. It's so real. It's not a mile away. It's within reach. It's just that we are blind to it most of the time. But it doesn't mean that there isn't activity happening. All I know is that I got my angels, I got my Jesus with me, praying, interceding for me, protecting me every moment. God is working in my life. So my way forward, my priorities in 2025 will be nutrition, will be sleep, will be exercise and water. I really want to lock into those. And then so I'll probably just challenge myself, and maybe we can make it a community challenge. And then also just being consistent, being obedient to the Lord, and being disciplined, spiritually disciplined, being disciplined just in general, but mostly spiritually. So those are my priorities, and just making sure that I cultivate and maintain a relationship with God. I stay locked in with God, seeking Him first, seeking His kingdom first, having a kingdom mentality, having the right concepts of what God is taking me to, and where He's taking me, and what He wants me to do in my ministry. So thank you guys. I know I think I thought it was going to be more formal, but I think it was fine the way it was, that you guys just realize, certain things we need, we need God in everything, but we need God in everything, and we need to, as we are striving to become better people, that we need to also be who we are, and appreciate where we are, so that when you get to being that girl, you're not unhappy because you don't see where you come from. Because when you're not in this moment, you're not gonna see how far you've made, how you got there. So you're not really going to appreciate being that girl if you're not willing to be this girl currently. So until next time, hope to see you guys soon. But I post mostly shorts, but I want to be more like intentional with the videos that I bring, long form videos that I bring, that they will be informative, that they will help you guys, and that we will figure this thing out as Christian women, Christian men as well. If you guys are here, I don't have a problem, but just doing everyday life with God and seeing and getting better and seeing where He takes us as a community and as individuals. So until next time, bye.